Hello everyone, my name is Eve and welcome to my YouTube channel. For any further information on all of the services I provide, please check out my website below. I have lectures on my websites. I have very deep guided meditations and attunements, and all of my readings and sessions are up there with all the descriptions and the prices as well. I also have my Instagram channel listed below, which I strongly advise you to look at, especially if you want to deepen what the messages are coming to you. I have several series that I'm focusing on every month. These are messages from the planet Mercury, and Mercury rules our mind, our mental body, our thought forms, our belief systems, how we express ourselves in the world, and messages that we want to be working with at this time, and possibly messages that are coming to us. So I would strongly suggest you look at that because Mercury is so very prevalent in our day-to-day lives. Then the messages from Venus, or the goddess realm, speaks to our creative center, our personal beauty, love, romance, and abundance. But Venus is akin to the goddess energy or the divine feminine part of our nature. And so if you're looking more about where your feminine nature is residing right now, and what you could be doing to perhaps increase abundance in your life, creativity, or you're looking for messages around love and romance, absolutely look at my different Venus messages. And with all of these planets, I am doing them according to the sign languages that each of them is going through. So for example, you might want to look at where your sun, moon, rising is, to see if it's relevant and pick the Mercury, Mars, or Venus in that sign. Or if you're looking at Venus messages, you want to pick the sign where your Venus is at as well. And that's just to give you an example on how to kind of read the messages, or simply go based on your intuition. And then finally, the messages from Mars are about our masculine energy, our drive, our action, our vitality, our passion. So if you want to increase your personal drive, if you're looking at gaining further information about the directions you should be headed in your life and how to build greater vitality, I would look at those messages. And also, by the way, if you're feminine watching, you may want to look at the Mars messages, maybe to get some input on where your masculine is, if it's the masculine you're looking for, and vice versa. If you're masculine watching, and you're into feminine energy, or you're into women, I would invite you to look at the messages from Venus. So you can also cross-watch. You know, the messages can be used in so many different ways. And the last series I have there, which I've just started, and I don't have a lot of messages up yet, are the cosmic relationships. And that's where I specifically bring in guidance for coming into higher forms of partnership with a romantic partner, friends, family, how we build these more cosmic, unconditional relationships in our life. But it is more specific to romance than it is anything else. So without further ado, let's dive into these beautiful messages from the new moon in Taurus. Now, Taurus is exalted. It's an exalted moon. When the moon is in Taurus, she feels very at home here. And that's because Taurus and the lunar energy is very much associated in the tarot with the Empress. But if you wanted to pick the queens from the different suits, I would also associate Taurus energy with the Queen of Pentacles, and then through the moon energy with the Queen of Cups. And how right now, under this moon energy, we're really accessing our physical natures. We're accessing the mundane, which means our day-to-day reality and routine. But we're also, because it's lunar, and the moon is our emotional body, we're also wanting to dive into our emotional well-being. But we're looking at it through the lens of Taurus. And Taurus is a very, very grounded sign. I would say of all the 12 signs, it is probably the most grounded. Capricorn is as well. And it's always about, is this real? It's about the five senses. is this real? It's looking at, is it practical? Is it real? Can we make it happen? What steps do we need to take to do this? So be mindful with the messages coming in today that because it is a Taurus new moon, it's not only very magical energy about manifestation because the moon is at its height in this sign, but because it is an earth sign, it's also slow moving. And that means that you can't have expectations for something to happen suddenly overnight because that's not how Taurus energy operates. Taurus is about building the foundation. It's a foundational energy, putting in one block at a time to build the foundation for your dreams, for what it is you want to create. So understand that with this lunar energy, steadfastness, practicality, daily work is essential because you have to lay the groundwork. Taurus energy is often associated with planting the seeds for your garden to grow. And then, of course, you have to mend them, right? And water them and weed them. And I talked about that in my last video. So I wanted to approach this in a little bit of a different way this month. And I think I'm going to start doing this for the new moons in particular, where I give you an option of picking between 3 decks. Or you can watch all 3 and just take whatever messages resonate for you. Because I often find when I do pick a cards, unlike other people that I watch, that a lot of times the piles actually merge or weave into one another. And so I find that I think a lot of the people watching probably do end up watching all 3. However, I wanted to put them out where if you really felt guided to only pick 1 or maybe 2 of the 3, that you do so. Please always follow your inner guidance. It will always trump mine. And remember, not every message is for you. If I list some things, maybe 1 or 2 of that will apply to you, but not all of it. So this is always about building your own intuition and looking at me as simply the guide or the messenger. I'm holding a space for you to dive deeper into whatever it is you're wanting to get from this video. And then if you're not finding that anything resonates, well, maybe I'm not the person for you and move on. Okay? So let's look at the 3 different decks here. And I wanted to pull from the Goddess Power Oracle Guidebook by Colette Baron-Reid, and then using the Energy Oracle cards and the Psychic Trove for the Heart by John Holland as further guidance on what these goddesses are wanting to bring in for us. So remember, the energy here is new moon. It's all about new beginnings, planting the seeds for something that you want to manifest in your life. So here are the 3 choices. The first goddess is Freya, the Nordic goddess, and the message is radical acceptance. And the timestamps will be listed below. The second goddess is Nike, ambition. She is the Greek goddess. Beautiful. So we have the Norse, the Greek, and the third one is a Japanese goddess, and she is the goddess of winter, Yuki Onna, and the message is stillness. Okay, so take a moment if you feel like choosing 1 or 2 over the others, and then we will get started here. So let's look at the very first one. It's the goddess Freya. Radical acceptance. I love this. She is a warrior goddess, but she's also the goddess who would come onto the battlefield and take care of the wounded, and also take care of a proper burial and ritual for those that had died. So she was a very compassionate goddess, even though she was a warrioress. So she had courage and gentleness entwined there, which is very beautiful. And there's a very specific message here with her because on, I believe, it's not her sleeve, but it's actually her armor, are the two infinity symbols, and it looks like a double 8. So for some of you, what I'm getting right away is there's a timing message. 8-8 is the Lion's Gate. And even look at the colors around her. She looks like a lioness. So I'm picking up some very strong Lion's Gate energy here, but also strong Leo energy. So maybe you have that as a sun sign or a moon or a rising sign here. But Leo is significant here. It's about having courage. So let's look at the messages that she's bringing us, because with the goddess cards, they're bringing us two different kinds of messages: empowerment messages and alignment messages. So Freya's empowerment message is that she's here to remind you that the acceptance of defeat is never the end. She offers the gift of acceptance, the knowing that there is nothing to resist right now. So it's about removing resistance and simply accepting. And as I was looking at that card, I was seeing all of these really well-known historical military leaders throughout time, starting perhaps with Caesar and Marcus Aurelius, but going, perhaps even we could include Napoleon, though whether he was dark or light, I think he was in the middle there. And we could go to Patton and Churchill, to some of the great leaders, George Washington, the great leader in our country. All these great leaders held something in common. They knew that they would lose battles. So they were not focusing all their attention on winning every battle. They knew that they were going to have to lose some. They knew that they would have to go through some defeat, because they were focused on the bigger picture, and that was about winning the battle or the war. It was about winning the war, not every battle. And that is the message that I was pulling in here for Freya. So if you're going through a time right now where you've lost something, whether it's a loved one, a job, a really wonderful creative career opportunity that you really wanted, then look at it as it's either not the right project, not the right job, or it's simply not the right time. That maybe there's more learning that you need to go through, and that the right time will come in the future. So the goddess Freya is inviting you to really completely wrap your arms and embrace radical acceptance, because the only way through is acceptance. Change only comes when we accept what is right in the here and the now. And that is how the greatest military leaders of all time won the war, because they were great strategists. So Freya is actually telling you to become a good strategist, right? So that's one of the lessons here. And let's look at her other empowerment messages here. You are the strongest, most grounded, and most powerful when you remember that this is the strategy the goddess Freya is offering you. So remember what I said about being a strategist here? See your world at face value and look into it with discernment. And when you look into it with that discernment, you will gain greater clarity, and then you will learn to not take this world so personally. And you will also then realize that it's not about fighting at all, right? Because think about this. When we take everything personally, we put our battle armor on, right? And we look at everything as if we're going to some kind of a battle. Challenge. Everything is a challenge. And the goddess Freya is inviting you to not take this world personally. That some defeats have nothing to do with you. To pick yourself up, dust yourself off, regroup, and go to the next stage here, okay? So what is her alignment message then? Failure and disappointments are part of life that few want to accept, but they are an amazing way of learning, right? Because when we accept failure and disappointment, we grow stronger. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And then we get even more clarity on what we really want and what we don't want, what is truly good for us and what isn't. So this is a very, very powerful message. The goddess of war and radical acceptance says, please have no fear either, because what you're going through right now is only temporary. And now is not the time to linger in perceptions of low self-worth. Again, don't take it personally. Your alignment task is to accept the truth wholeheartedly and see your situation exactly for what it is. And she will help bring you to this inner place of surrender where you have time to heal, regroup, then get out there and go after what you want again. She knows that you will emerge stronger and you will emerge wiser, and that only good will ultimately come out of this. Trust that she is helping you through this. That is such a beautiful message here. So let's look at the other guidance cards to get perhaps a little bit more clarity on how Freya is helping us with radical acceptance. So from the Energy Oracle card deck, I pulled the World, number 2911. It's the number of manifestation. I love this because Freya is really saying, when you can embody radical acceptance and surrender to it, lay down your sword, then the world awaits you. Because you're actually inviting change in, right? And the world now can become your oyster. The world is awaiting what you have to bring to it. But perhaps there's a perfect timing for that, and maybe that timing hasn't yet arrived, and that's perhaps why you felt defeated. And so part of the message is there's a timing here. The world is awaiting you, but there's a perfect timing here. And the other message here with the world is that make the world your oyster. Broaden your perspective, broaden your net. Throw a wider net so you can catch different fish, whether that's in love, career, or whatever else you are involved with. Okay, so let's look at the other messages of guidance here from the Psychic Tarot for the heart. So when we come into that place of acceptance and we then realize that the world is awaiting us here, that change is part of our world now, as well as discernment, and there's something big that we are bringing to this world, we're changing our focus. So for some of you, I'm feeling, because this is the Five of Cups, that perhaps the radical acceptance is in love, that you're accepting something in your love life that's been very difficult. Or perhaps it was around a romantic partner, a marriage, or maybe even a long-term friendship that you really love, and there's been a change there. So what they're guiding you to do in this specific deck, see, there's no cups on the ground, there's no trees down. The birds are actually flying ahead. So in this Five of Cups, all it's saying is all you have to do is change your focus. Look ahead, no longer look behind you. Because think about this, in the Five of Cups in the traditional Rider-Waite, it's always a woman looking down at the 3 spilled cups and not looking at the 2 cups that are standing. So what I really love about this deck is the woman is only looking straight ahead. She's no longer looking behind her or at anything below her. She's looking straight ahead. So we're changing our focus now and moving it to a greater vision, a greater perspective of our world and what we want in it. And the second card is the Moon card from the Major Arcana. And we're confronting our deepest emotions here. So there's a lot of emotions in this specific first deck. So this could be a love situation, but it could also be about a creative project or a career that we lost, something that happened where we really put a lot of our time and energy into, and it was very hard to walk away from it or to let it go. Okay? So in this card, the moon is telling us to really confront our emotions here, but to really look at it, to confront our shadow, to look at all of us, that we are not only our light, we are also our shadow. And so that when you can engage with both sides of yourself, the light and the dark, and you embrace all of it, you are then ready to embrace the world. You are ready to receive the world. I'm looking at that card as also a symbol of the world in the Tarot, which is completion of this journey here. And so when we change our focus, we have radical acceptance, and we confront how we really feel and what our deepest emotions really are here. When there's no longer any resistance, and we're honoring who we are, and we're no longer denying how we feel, then the moon comes out, right? It shines its beautiful light upon us. And then guess what? We can now become the manifester of our world. That's the Magician. Card number 1, new beginnings await us. It's simply waiting for us to open our hands, to recognize that we are the alchemist of our life. We are the co-creator. But we just simply have to know when we're ready. So I feel like there's a card of readiness here. There's a message of timing and figuring out where in this cycle you're going to be ready, and giving yourself that luxury of time. Because remember, of all the 12 signs, Taurus is actually the slowest. It is the one that wants to build that foundation. So give yourself the time that you need to be ready to manifest the world that you want, because the world is your oyster now. Love these messages. So let's move on now to deck number 2, or for those that want to continue with this, and let's see if the messages blend or if they're really radically different. So the second goddess here is the goddess Nike. I love her, Ambition. She's the Greek goddess. And I really love the rendition of this because I believe she was Mercury's consort, or it was his daughter. I can't remember which in the Greek tradition. You can look that up. But see how she has also, she's wearing the wings of the messenger goddess, Nike. So she's not only about ambition, she's also the messenger goddess. And I love it because if you look closely there, on the wings, it looks like the face of an eagle, which is spirit. So we're getting some very strong spiritual messages. But Nike, as the goddess of ambition, is inviting us, her empowerment message is to stop and sit on your laurels, to enjoy where you've gotten to thus far in your ambition, to stop and enjoy what you've already created. And one of her messages is, it does us no good when we just keep going and going and going, and we don't stop and really enjoy the fruits of our labor. Okay, so when I think of that, I think of the 10 of Pentacles, where we finally reach the end and we can sit back and really enjoy everything that we have created. So let's look at some other of her empowerment messages. She asks you to be present to the beauty and the richness that you've discovered in your life thus far. You have come this distance. Celebrate where you've come from. Celebrate how far you have come. Why? Because this will then enable you to create even more in your life. Being successful at the game of life requires you to refuse the message that you are too much or not enough. So that's one of the other messages that Nike has for us, that you got where you got because of who you are. It's not about listening to what everyone else thinks you should do or shouldn't do. Are you good enough? Are you not good enough? Are you too much of something? So it's about standing aside from what other people think and recognizing that you have created your life here. You are more than enough, always. Your biggest win here is to simply be yourself, accepting yourself exactly as you are without any excuses given to anyone, and releasing the idea that you are flawed in any way, and instead express yourself with authenticity. This is the true power of the victory goddess Nike. So the goddess Nike is the goddess of victory. So for those of you that chose this deck, which it is quite different than deck number 1, because Freya is the warrior goddess, but she's also about acceptance, okay, radical acceptance, whereas Nike is about victory, that perhaps you've reached a finishing line, but the finishing line is you running a marathon. Your life is not a series of sprints, and if it is, you're not fully living and experiencing this life, because when we live our life as sprints, it's like we're swimming on the top of the ocean. We're not diving deep beneath it. So when we live our life as if it's a marathon, we take our time to go through it, right? That steady endurance that is so deeply the sign of Taurus. So let's look at some of the other messages that Nike has to share with us. If you've possibly been struggling, though, to move to the next level of your life, working hard and putting the time and effort in, then the message for you here is that you will soon find yourself winning, that your hard work and time and effort is going to pay off. So there's two different messages here. One, really sitting back and being at one with your victory, enjoying what you've achieved, sitting on your laurels and having fun and celebrating it. And the other is that you haven't quite gotten there yet, but her message is don't worry, because it is around the corner. Please keep up the hard work. So let's look at her alignment message here, because there's several interesting messages she has for us. Are you so determined to win right now that you're running like a racehorse? So that means, are you running a marathon or a sprint? Okay, because you want to be sure you're in the marathon. That allows you to really pace yourself. And when you're running a marathon, it gives you the time to lay solid foundations. Whereas if you're in a sprint, you're not really laying something that's going to last. So think about lasting energy here. Now, what is the other messages here? Yes, comparing yourself with others is not a good thing to do either, because this is about recognizing that you are exactly where you need to be. Your life is a marathon. Your only competition is with yourself. That was the alignment message. So choose now how you want to feel about your life and who you want to become. Then take baby steps towards your highest intentions. I love that. So that is a very, very big alignment message. Your only competition is yourself. And the last message she has as guidance here is cheer others on who are successful. This is not a competition. Learn from them. Help those who are struggling, because you can learn from them too. But know that no matter what, your place in the world is assured. It means that your destiny belongs to you. No one else is going to take it from you, because it belongs to you. So remember that however long it takes for you to get there is the perfect time. So the one thing I am seeing here across these two decks so far is there's something about divine timing here that's speaking to us. So let's look at the other energy oracle cards to give us some extra information about what Nike and ambition means here. I love it. We have the journey card, number 2. So that card is asking you, what is your next destination? Do you know where you're headed? So for some, you might be taking a pause right now. As I said, celebrating something you've achieved and thinking about where you want to go next. Look at that. She's holding in one hand just a very small piece of luggage. No, there's several bags there. So are you packing heavily on this journey or lightly? So that would mean, are you going on a long journey where you're relocating? Or are you packing lightly because you're going on a retreat or a vacation? That message is for somebody. But then in her other hand, she's holding a lantern so that she can see ahead, and she's taking a moment to pause. But I love it here too, because we see that there's several different destinations that you can go in now, and it's up to you to choose which one you want to go in. So now we're getting some messages that do kind of link in a little bit with deck number 1, where we had the world, right? And deciding where you're going now on your journey. But the biggest message here is that you have to look at life as a journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And so that's the big message that Nike's bringing to us here. It's about the journey, and to really thoroughly enjoy the journey while we're on it. And that we're coming up to a time right now where perhaps you're going to have some new choices to make. So let's look at the other messages from the Psychic Tarot of the Heart. And we have the 6 of Wands, believe and succeed. That fits with the journey card perfectly. Yeah, you're the captain of your own ship. You're the one steering this boat. So be really crystal clear in the direction that you want it to go in, okay? And 6 is the number of ambition and harmony. I love it though, in this picture, number 6 of Wands is a very beautiful card, and it shows a very clear direction ahead, and it also shows smooth and calm waters. Okay, love that message. Something very smooth and beautiful ahead of you. And then we have a chakra card to work on, the sacral chakra. We have the number 2 again. So maybe you're working on your creative zone, because the second chakra is about our creative center. The second chakra is also about forming relationships with others, wanting children, and also romance. You know, but number 2 is about seeking balance and harmony and love in our life. So perhaps the next journey you're on is leaving ambition behind a little bit and maybe heading towards romance. You know, maybe there's a romantic message here. But no matter what, it's about coming to a place of inner harmony within you and harmonizing that creative part. Okay, the second chakra is absolutely our creative center. So I think the guidance here is to access some new creativity. And then the last card here is trust, the Fool. Absolutely, you are on a brand new journey. It's time to take a leap of faith, to trust the place that you are jumping into now. And it's new. There's something very new in this specific card here. And in this specific deck number 2, there's a lot of new things coming into your life here. Love, love, love these messages. So let's go ahead and finally look at card or deck number 3 here, which really resonated with me when I picked the Japanese goddess. I felt her energy touch me. So I realized that if I had a pile here, it would probably actually be number 3. The Japanese goddess of winter, Yuki Onna. Stillness. Beautiful. It's a message of deep, deep spirituality. And 52, which equals a 7. 7 is the path of the spiritual warrior. It's the path of inwardness, of seeking our divine center within before we manifest what we want in the outer world. Sorry, I'm losing my headset here for a second. There we go. I love the colors blue. So it's about really following our inner heart and our inner spirit. That's what I'm getting. Follow your inner spirit here. And winter, the goddess of winter, means that you could be in a place in your life right now where, even though it's springtime and Taurus season, where we're planting new seeds and wanting to get out there in the world, that maybe you're going still through a place of hermiting or an inner stillness in your life. There's 2 messages I'm getting here. So perhaps 2 different groups of people. Some where you're still feeling like you need to be in a bit of a hermit mode. You're working on your internal world right now. You're meditating a lot, seeking answers from within, doing a lot of spiritual work, a lot of R&R, rest and recuperation, doing a lot of journaling, really wanting a lot of stillness and quiet and solitude is the word I was getting. And then for others of you, the message is that that is what you need, that you've been too much in the activity, the daytime of your life, the daylight hours of your life. You've been going, and it's time now to turn that around and enter into stillness, that you need to quiet your mind and your body and reach for that inner place of stillness, okay? So let's look at what her empowerment and alignment messages are. Being open and receptive, slowing down and allowing for time to dream activates your partnership with the universe so you can truly set your intentions into motion. Then almost without effort, you discover their vibrational match in the world of form. Just as the life force quietly builds within a seed buried under snow, so too will the energy build in the seed of your desires before manifesting with no effort on your part. You will find how easy it is to co-create while implementing a practice of stillness and receptivity. I love that message because what it's saying, and I'm getting for this pile specifically, this is about love. This is about the true love journey or the twin flame journey. It's for those of us that are seeking that true love within ourselves and out in the world. And the message here is that we're finding that deep, deep self-love, self-authenticity, and self-compassion. Because when we exist in that place, then the outer world will find our match. And there's nothing we need to do because the universe is working with us on this. So Yuki Onna is saying, trust in your guides and angels, trust in her and the divine right now, because they're helping co-create these miracles and this magic in your outer world, because the outer world is going to soon become a mirror image, a match for your internal emotional heart. So the outer world is going to become a match for what you most desire, because you have been implementing your spiritual tools and you have been working so deeply on self-love that that match is going to find you. Wow, I am getting chills as I read that. So this is really, I feel like this is about love. Now, if you picked this deck and you weren't thinking at all about true love, maybe there's still a message here for you, or maybe you want to look at one of the other two decks. The other message is, let others make the first move at this time. As you assess and observe the world around you from the profound position of stillness and neutrality. So her other message here, which could be about romance, but it could actually apply to anything in your life, is you are adapting the skill set of non-attachment. You're existing in the place of the observer and neutrality. You're not attaching to anything. You're allowing everything to flow past you, as if you're this beautiful rock in the middle of a giant river and the water is simply flowing past you. And you're assessing it, you're watching it, you're observing it. In this way, the world becomes more intimate to you, and yet you know to take nothing personally. So we're getting back to one of the messages in pile number 1, to not take anything personally. But in this deck specifically, the self-empowerment message is about being in a neutral space and being non-attached so that what you want can truly find you. When the goddess Yuki Onna comes to support you, be still and miracles will find you. The action now is non-action. Beautiful message. So let's look at the alignment message. She's come to help you now to move out of and past any experiences where you're in a place of emotional denial, resistance, or exhaustion. So the alignment task here is to recognize, remember I said there's like two piles here, or two groups that I was picking up. And then I was picking up a second group of people where you've been so much in the doing that you've been burning out the candles at both ends, that you've reached a place of exhaustion. But you had to get there, because only when you reached it did you no longer resist. And so now the goddess of stillness can come in and work with you, because you have no energy left, right? You can't resist her. And she is now going to work with you through this stillness. And she's going to bring you into learning how to live a healthier life, okay? And then the other message here is, if you are frozen or in a place of stuck energy, recognize that it's the ego that is refusing to accept something. So there's two different messages here. You could be in a place of exhaustion, so you need to go into rest and recuperation and stillness, where the answers will then find you, and you will come to that place of equilibrium. Or you've been feeling very stuck, and there's something you're denying yourself. There's an emotional river that's been moving through you that you're not allowing yourself to look at. And so you're being stuck in it. It's like you're going round and round the track, right? You know, Groundhog Day. And so she's asking you to remove the emotional denial. Get yourself out of emotional desire. Stop resisting what wants to find you with your emotions. And she's here to help you. Okay? And so if you are in a time right now where you are feeling frozen, which is causing fear and potentially depression, then call this beautiful, great goddess in, because she's going to help you slow down and help you recognize what is causing this fear and depression. And she's going to help you surrender it and let it go. And then she will help bring the miracles to you. She is an amazing goddess, an amazing goddess. So please do call on her. So let's look at the other messages here of further guidance that she wants to bring us. Oh, I love it. From the Energy Oracle cards, we have the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel is the fire of God. Archangel Uriel rules our crown chakra, the fire of God. It's time to express who you are in the world. It's time to completely open up all of your higher channels, to no longer deny who you are. Okay, now I'm getting a message. So from Yuki Onna to Archangel Uriel, it's time to no longer deny who you are. Do not deny the emotions. Do not deny the fear, the depression. Dive into it. And in the stillness of it, the answers will find you. The release will come. That's for some of you. And for others, what these two beautiful goddess and archangels are bringing is they're telling you that your higher wisdom, your upper channels are completely wide open, and they are ready to receive higher knowledge, higher empathy, higher compassion, higher intuitive abilities. So call on your higher self, work with your soul monad family, and work with all of your angels and guides, and specifically this goddess and Archangel Uriel, because they're really coming in. This is a beautiful time to further awaken your higher channels. Beautiful message. And so let's look at the final messages from the Psychic Tarot of the Heart. Take the lead. The 3 of Wands. I love it. Take the lead. You're the co-creator of your life here. So you're taking a lead in your spiritual world now. So deck number 3, without a doubt, is very, very strongly spiritually driven. But I'm also getting that it's about romance and love, that there's something that you're manifesting in terms of romance and true love into your life. Whether you're single, currently dating someone, wondering if it's going somewhere new, or if you're in a marriage or a relationship and you're aware that it's time for it to go to another level, that you're being assured here that that's exactly what's happening. But you do need to take the lead in your spiritual world. That's what the message is. Don't sit back and let someone else take the lead in your spiritual life. You take the lead. So the action you need to take here is action in your spiritual, emotional, intuitive world. The non-action is for allowing what you want to find you. You don't have to pursue it anymore. It's pursuing you. Okay? So you see the difference? Open up. Interesting, that's the 4 of Pentacles. In this deck, though, it's about opening up. Take the lead and open up. So open up your spiritual centers. Open up your emotional center more than the 4 of Cups, because opportunity beckons. Something is calling you forward. Something is calling you. You can feel it, you can sense it in your bones. But you just simply know that perhaps the timing has not yet arrived yet, but you can feel it. I'm getting a very strong message for this pile, that it's sometime in the season of summer or in the season of winter. Okay, I'm getting, with Archangel Uriel, the 7th chakra, and the double 4 there, I'm getting absolutely July and August, but I'm also feeling Yuki, because she's the winter goddess, that it could also be winter time. But I'm getting, without a doubt, summer and or winter, that there's something developing here. So only you know what that timing's going to be. And it's interesting, we have both the 4 of Pentacles and 4 of Cups next to each other, because typically in the Tarot, the number 4s are about stability. But the number 4 can also be about where our resistance lies. Okay? So we've perhaps been in a place of stability for a while, and we've maybe gotten too attached to our comfort zone. And what the great goddess and Archangel Uriel is telling us is it's time now to spread our wings further out, to take the lead and leave our comfort zone, that it's time to grow again. Okay, so that's one message. And to get there, though, we have to remove the resistance, right? The other message from the 2 4s is that we've been in the status quo for a very long time. And we've been waiting a long time for something really brand new to come in. And for those of you that I'm getting that message for, which includes myself in that, the time is right around the corner. It will be somewhere from this summer into the winter season where this time is truly opening up for us. Opportunity is absolutely beckoning. And this was the only deck I had an extra card for. The 2 of Cups. The coming together with a sacred divine counterpart. So you are coming together in a union here. So this is about some form of a union, whether it's a partnership of love or a partnership of business. But no matter what, even if it's a business partnership, it will be based on love, on mutual support, respect, and understanding. There is a mission here. So with this pile, I'm getting a very strong calling, like you're on a mission. There's a calling, a destiny that is awaiting you. And I really feel like this destiny involves some form of coming together or union with a divine sacred counterpart. Okay, beautiful, beautiful messages. So whatever the timing is, please do not attach to it. Simply flow, because the goddess of winter, her message is this is a time of non-action. Let what is meant for you to come to you. Okay, I love you all. Many, many blessings.